for the Sky News music to come in.
We are live. Pete, what's the beef?
What's the crack, Cam?
Welcome to episode 2 of the Chef Fit podcast, you freaks. Today, me and POBG are talking about why chefs fail to exercise and what they need to do. Welcome to the show.
Let's just jump straight into it.
Stop. I'm so excited right now. I'm riled up. I'm ready to go. I'm partially aroused. Let's do it. Joking. So what we're talking about today is really a big issue that is happening in the industry with chefs, that they're failing to exercise. And really, there's a lot of knock-on results from that. So,
well, excuse me, Cam, but we actually have the best excuses ever, so we're special. Okay, so if you'd leave chefs alone, we don't have time. Okay.
That old chestnut. That's a really, really, really good point, though. You know, that is a really good point. So, chefs, you work so many hours, you got so much stress to deal with, you got so much pressure to deal with, a lot on your plate, this and that. It's very justifiable. It's very justifiable to go, fuck it. Not today, next week, Monday, next month, next year, January, when I'm in a better headspace, you know, when I'm in a better place, when I can afford it, when I can do that, when I can do this. Here's the fucking problem. If you don't do it, where are you going? Someday doesn't exist on a calendar. It's not on the fucking calendar. You can't find it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Sunday. Sunday's not there, pal. 7 days in the week. Yeah. So if you don't get it done now, the problem is going to perpetuate. And as justified as you might be in making the excuse, it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't fix anything, man. 110%, it doesn't fix anything. POBG, take us back a step, bro. Like, for anyone unsure of what the crack is, Peter was one of the first guys to ever do Chef Fit. He was in the original group, right? And Peter had come to me and we'd had this mad conversation on the phone, joined up, mental transformation, and now you're seeing the end result of that. So like, Peter, for you, man, what was your attitude towards exercise? Obviously you've background, but what's your attitude towards exercise when you were by yourself and you were mooching about for a couple of years?
Like, well, I was joking at the start. I was only half joking where I said, you know, I have an excuse, you know, because we literally did. You just say to yourself, I don't have time, I won't do it today, you know. But I'm working the same job that I was before this, and I just finished up my tallies for last week, and I did 8 cardio and seven workouts. So I'm a full-time chef. If I can do it, anyone can do it, and I work in the same amount of hours I was doing at the start.
Yeah, 100%. And
so there literally isn't an excuse. There's reasons that you can make into an excuse, and you can listen to them or you can't. Simple as that.
I think that's a topic in and of itself. For like, I could literally talk for an hour on excuses. What you got to see here is justifying not doing something fixes nothing, doesn't fix anything. And it's fine for you to feel a certain way. It's fine if you want to make the excuse, you're more, you know, you can, it's not a problem. But if you really want something in your life, or you feel your life is lacking something, then excuses cannot be made. The road to nowhere is paved with excuses. And I think exercise and taking care of yourself, that's one of those big things that chefs deal with, that the excuse always pops up. You know, it really is. So what is the current situation for a lot of chefs? From what I can see, a lot of you, I assume the majority of people listening to this are chefs. If not, I appreciate you being here. Fair play to you. But I feel for a lot of chefs and a lot of you will try something out for a while, and then you'll probably go back to square one again. Like, you'll get to a point where you can't take it anymore. You need to change. So you'll have a look and you'll go, right, I'll join the gym, I might do a spin class, sure, I might even get an exercise band there. You'll try a couple of things. You'll do it for a week or two and you'll stop. You'll start going for a run. You'll start going for walks. You'll start cycling your bike again. Do it for a week or two and stop. And then you go back to square one. The problem is, and you can attest to this, Peter, the problem is the more you fail, the easier it becomes to fail. The more you fail, the easier it becomes to fail. Because actions done consistently become habits. And if you make a habit out of failure, like, again, lo and behold, you get the situation you're in right now. It's not impossible to fix, by the way, and we're going to dive into that. But
yeah, there's an imaginary conversation that you have with yourself saying, right, it's literally you standing in front of yourself going, tell you what, if you don't go to the gym today, I promise I won't give you any shit for it. You go, okay, right, Grant.
True.
The amount of times I joined the gym, remember the first time when I joined Ben Dunn Gym, and you go there the first month, and you're there 3-4 times a week, and then literally it's that fast that you start to fall off of it. And then you didn't go last week, and then you go, oh well, the payment is due next week, and I only went a couple of times last week. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'll leave it.
Yeah. Where does that leave you though? That's the thing,
It leaves you back at square one, yeah.
Yeah. But you get back at square one, this is where the excuse thing comes in. Like, it's a story. And you get these stories that you tell yourself, and it's like, that doesn't work for me. I've tried that before. Yeah, you know what I mean? Didn't work for me. It's always, you tell yourself these things that in reality potentially are not true, because you're not looking at what the problem is. And I'm not saying you're the problem to offend you, to hurt your feelings. Not that I give a shit if I offend you, but I'm not doing it with that purpose in mind. The reason I'm saying it is that you get clear on how to fix it. You see, the reason that you're not getting the work done, that you're not showing up, you're not getting it done, is because there's something in your operating system that's just not working. The shit's broken. And once you know the shit's broken, then it's time to fix it. But if you keep looking at the tool that you're using as the problem, you've got massive issues. It's like, I tried spin classes, they don't work. I tried running, it doesn't work. I tried going to the gym, it doesn't work. It's like, listen, pal, I could give you a fucking hammer and you could go and build houses in Africa for starving children, or you could go and cave in a fucking grandmother's head. It's like, it's the fucking tool that you're using. Is it the tool's fault? No, it's you using it. So it's the same thing with exercise, and whatever thing you choose to use, it's the person using it that harnesses whether you're going to get the result or not. Agree or disagree, Peter?
100%.
So like, with that in mind, what do
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen magically, and it's not going to happen through intentions, Yeah. And if you let yourself off, I'm in a position now that I'm not letting myself off, because I've got, any one of another 50 chefs that I train with will make sure that I keep myself in check, as I will keep them in check.
Massively. And it's important, before we dive into actual training, that we touch on these things, because what's the best exercise to do? Who the fuck am matter with the best exercise to do? I could probably take a lot of chefs and go, do you know what, pal? Fucking lift this remote up 20 times and walk up your stairs for 20 minutes. And I guarantee you, if they had no stories or excuses, I would get better results from them than I would with someone who's doing the best program in the world and has all the fucking excuses in the world. So the key thing to understand is, with exercise, you've got to get out of your own way. That's the first thing. Not a lot of people will tell you that, but that's the truth. You've got to get out of your own way. Stop. Excuses are they're just problems to be solved, So once you get out of your own way, then you push on, and we look at what's actually required in a plan. What's actually required? What does a chef need to be focusing on? What do they need to be concentrating on? I have a very simple philosophy on this, and a very simple philosophy goes like this: move every motherfucking day. Move every day. Yeah? It's that simple. Oh, you know, I can't get to the gym. Don't care, motherfucker. Go for a walk, go for a run. You've got 2 legs, go. You know? Oh, you know, it's like, no, I'm literally taking the excuse away. There's no excuse anymore. The only thing that's making the excuse is you. Like, whether you move every day by going to the gym, whether you go for a run, whether you go for a walk, whether you go for a cycle, whether you go for a swim, whether you go and fucking do a bit of cardio on an step machine or an elliptical, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. You skip rope. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. The fact is, you need to adopt this mindset of I am going to do something every single day. Why is that important? Well, I'll tell you something. First off, when you exercise, it changes your state. What does change in your state mean? It means when you're tired, upset, grumpy, angry, all the fuck, like, you're in a state of mind. When you exercise, Peter can attest to this, I attest to this, every chef that does Chef Fit attests to this, everyone who's ever exercised in the world attests to this. When you finish a good training session of any kind, you feel fantastic. All right? So part of any plan, before we look at what the best exercises are and any of that, the priority needs to be, how do we do something every day that puts us in a positive frame of mind? Because if we put you in a positive frame of mind, everything changes. Everything changes. And you can start dialing things in and making it complicated later on, but you need to start off with that foundation. It's like building a house. Build the foundation before you start putting the fucking carpets down and painting the walls. Move every single day. Now, moving forward from there, once you're moving every day, okay, cool.
What moves?
Yeah, exactly. What kind of movements? You'd be doing the old fucking wriggly fish like POBG there. If you're lucky, he might show you the moves.
The training plan that you have us on, Cam, is that specific? Is that specific to chefs? Is that a lot of that based around time and lower back, or is that, would you, like when you were doing PT and before this, would you have a similar kind of a workout plan, workout structure for Joe Schmo who works in an office all day?
No, like I think definitely there was a massive degree of that. Like the thing that I would have anyone wondering, and I don't hide any of this, like Chef Fit's plan, you lift 3 days a week and then you do cardio 4 days a week. Now, depending on your level, obviously your lifting, like, is the lifting that Peter will be doing now would be very different to maybe a beginner who's coming in who's never lifted a weight in his life. Or maybe the lifting that Peter's doing now is very different to the lifting Peter was doing last summer, if he was doing any lifting last summer. Do you know what I mean? Before he started. So the key thing to understand is, yeah, we're lifting 3 days a week. We're doing our cardio 4 days a week. And then in our warm-ups, we focus on getting everything limber and moving up. The thing that I tried to focus on with Chef Fit was, first off, stretching the hips. That's a very good question. Stretching your hips and keeping yourself mobile. You know what I mean? Keeping yourself supple. That's why I get you to move every day as well. That's another massive, massive benefit. It's not just about changing your state of mind and getting fit. It's also improving how you move and improving how your body feels. So for
7 days as well.
Massively, yeah, massively.
Yeah.
So it's like you need to be stretching your hips regularly, and also a chef needs to make their things time efficient. So as you were saying to me there about the other times, when I had PT clients before, it was like, yeah, might be able to go a little bit longer. It's like, again, my aim with the Chef Fit program was remove the excuse. No excuses anymore, you know? It's like, oh, fuck, we don't have time to go to the gym. You don't have fucking 35 minutes, chap. Really. You don't have 30 minutes, you know? Fuck off. Seriously. Like, if I don't buy that anymore. It's not true. I used to tell myself stories like that all the fucking time, man. When I was like before I started Chef Fit, I was coaching and I was personal training and I had a lot of clients, and I was working a lot, but I had time to train, but I would tell myself that I didn't have time. We talked about this before. It's like, you have to make the time to do it. And for me, when I created the Chef Fit program, it's like, okay, cool. Let's make something simple and let's make something time efficient where you can't really use that excuse. It's like you're probably spending 2 hours watching fucking Netflix, you know, a night. So
so that's why dynamic warm up is so important then, because you don't have a half an hour to jump on a treadmill before a training session.
Big yes, absolutely. That's another thing. It's like when you're training, right, and you're exercising, you've got to be asking yourself the question, what's the minimal amount of work for the maximum amount of result? Like, what's the minimum effective dose that I could use here? Like, doing half an hour on the treadmill before your training session, it's good cardio, but if that's your, why are you doing 30 minutes as a warm-up? That's a fucking session in and of itself. It's like, you need to be more useful with your time. So like when we're going into the gym, let's get into this a small bit now. So as we're getting into the gym, like I get the guys to do a dynamic warm-up before every single training session. Probably takes 3 to 4 minutes, and 4 minutes, yeah. And the idea is to get you warmed up from head to toe. Is it perfect? No. Does it cover all the bases? More or less, okay? You can then add to that by, if you want to do in your warm-up, what I would recommend for a lot of chefs is that you stretch out your hips and you stretch out your hamstrings. Why? Because most of you have fucking mental posture. Yeah, I had mad posture as well. You've got, I call it Donald Duck back.
Every time you mention it, I'm slouching over the camera like this fake cam.
And he's trying to get his shit unfucked. That's literally it. Chefs have, but like that's a posture thing. And chef, because you're crouched over and you're prepping at a section or you're cooking on a section, you do this for years on end. Your shoulders start to hunch forward. You know, the shoulders get a bit, shoulders hunch forward. Neck starts to protrude, your arse starts to tuck in under your hips. You start to get soft knees, where your knees start to bend because your hamstrings.
Legs go down like this, then you get to the knees, and then they go.
Yeah, exactly.
My shins have a mad curve in them.
Man, you start looking like a fucking. Here's a mental version of that. I was in Aldi there, right? And I was doing my fucking shop in Terranure of all places, the home of the BOB.
On the Nor.
One. Anyway, I was coming out of the shop and there's an Aldi Terranure. There's these, it's not an escalator, but it's a flat stairway, whatever that thing's called.
It's a 50-foot travelator.
Yeah, there you go, travelator. Anyway, you're coming down, you're traveling down. And I'm looking down at the other travelator, and there's an old lady. She's a good 80 to 85 years old. But I'm not fucking joking. Her head was where her chest used to be. Like, she was like fucking her posture had gone. The reason I'm saying this is because chefs are in bits. Her posture was so rounded forward. And I call it turtle back, but technically it's called a kyphosis. And this means your shoulders tighten up, your hamstrings get tight, your arse tucks in under your hips, and your neck starts to protrude forward like that, and your shoulders are in bits, and all the muscles here get stretched out. And she was literally walking around like a fucking human tortoise, you know? And it's like, that's what happens over time when you don't stretch the fuck out. So taking it back a step, don't want to be like the old lady on the travelator. Good. What you need to do is you need to be able to stretch out your hips, your hamstrings, and also opening up your shoulders is a massive thing. Like stretching out your pecs and stuff is a massive thing before your training session. Like just look up an upper body mobility session on YouTube. Look up hip mobility stretches on YouTube if you're looking for fucking stuff to do, you know? Like you just have to be a bit resourceful. Look it up. It's like 2 minutes. Do those before your training session. That's what I'd recommend. So that's your warm-up sorted out. Dynamic warm-up to get yourself warm and kind of mobilize everything that needs to be done. Then I'd recommend stretching the hips and stretching the hamstrings and opening up the pecs and the shoulders as best you can, so your posture isn't absolutely mangled and you don't end up like Turtle Woman, which is not ideal. It's not ideal. Like if you're a human turtle, right? If you end up like a turtle at some point in your life, you've got issues, son. So let's not let that happen. You know, except for a teenage mutant. No, they're all right. If you're a teenage mutant ninja turtle, you'd probably be taking some names. But if you're Turtle Woman with 2 bags of fucking, you know, bread and brack and lion's tea, you're probably not taking names. So don't end up like that. Stretch out before your training sessions. Moving on swiftly. From there, then you'd move on to your training session. Like I would be a big proponent of focusing on the basics. You have the big 4. Let's say it's the big 5. in your training sessions. Most people fucking piss around when it comes to exercise, and they don't really know what the best thing to do is. Is it machines? Is it free weights? Is it this? Is it that? I suppose when you're training, it's the first time and you're by yourself and you don't really have any guidance, the machines are a very straightforward thing to start off with, and that's fine. You know, if it's something that, if it gets you moving, it gets you started, great, go for it. But if you're looking at this thing as a means of longevity and you actually want to go long term on this, you're going to have to view gym as a skill. You're going to be shit at it the first couple of months. You might, maybe it's the first couple of weeks, but you're definitely going to be shit at it for a couple of weeks. But you've got to get good at these 5 things: squatting, hinging, pushing, pulling, and core. All right. So what I've just described to you are 5 families. Yeah. It's like 5 families. There's many people in a family with many different names, but they're all stemming from the same thing. And the same thing goes for these movements I've just told you about, like a squat. Like you could do a front squat, a goblet squat, a split squat, a back squat, a fucking hack squat, a leg press, a leg extension, a step up, a split, you know what I mean? Name the fucking exercise. They're all squats. They're all from the same family and they all require very similar technique. So you're not going to learn all of that in this podcast, but at least you have the clarity in knowing what you need to concentrate on. You need to get good at the squat pattern. I would recommend for any kind of beginner, the absolute base exercise that you need to start with would be like a box goblet squat. Look that up on YouTube, a box goblet squat. If you wanted to find either of us on social media, we'll fucking send you the video of it. Like that's a good starting point for squatting and learning that movement. With a hinge, so that's like the ability to push your arse back. And so I'm moving too far ahead. A squat, the reason that these families even exist is because you used to have to squat to take a shit. You used to squat to fucking go and eat with your family. Go and travel in Southeast Asia and go and look at those people. They're all sitting on their fucking calves with no chairs. Perfect hip flexibility, perfect movement, no back pain, no posture problems, sitting there, squatting, sitting in a bodyweight squat, eating their food, right? That's the ideal situation. So that's all the squat is. Squat to take a shit, squat to sit down, squat to lift weights, same family. It's a skill set. You get good at it. Same thing with hinging. Hinging is the ability to push your arse back and keep your back straight and pick something up off the floor. You need to be able to hinge to pick things up off the floor properly. Simple as. Like an example of a hinge would be a deadlift. So should you be deadlifting straight away if you're a chef walking in with no experience off the street with shit posture? Fuck no. God no, you should not be. Eventually, though, you could be working towards that. You could work towards that. So what I would suggest doing is I get the guys to do kettlebell hinges when they first come in. Stick a kettlebell in your chest and learn to hinge by pushing your arse back, keeping your eyes forward and keeping your back straight. That's going to require a bit of research on your point, but I would start off by getting good at hinging. Then you've got pushing and pulling. Very similar. The only thing that you need to know, like a push-up, a bench press, they're pushing movements. A pull-up, a dumbbell row, a fucking lat pull-down, they're pulling movements. But they all require the same thing. Can you keep your shoulder locked into fucking a solid position? Can you keep this area stable? Like that's all I'm asking you to do. Like, can you keep your shoulder stable and push and pull? Simple as. Can you get good at doing that?
Pack them shoulders.
Yeah, pack the shoulders. Literally, pack your shoulders. Pull your shoulder blade back like you're going a cork into the top of a bottle of wine. Literally, pop it in, fucking screw that sucker back, and then put your shoulder blades into your back pockets. Like, it's literally that, and that's how you pull. So don't be doing your pushing movements like this. Get your shoulder back into position and fucking get it solid. I always lifted with my shoulders going down and the head up. Yeah.
And then it's almost like the neck and the shoulders is one straight thing like that, and then and you're pulling with the tendons inside your fucking shoulder instead of your back,
Cervical flexion. Yeah, and the thing you got to understand, guys, is that you do all this because of your posture, you need to be fucking careful. You need to be careful. Like chefs, like let's say you're going in and you're doing a bench press or you're doing dumbbell presses or whatever. I'm assuming that people listening to this have some grasp of exercise. If you're not, if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, sorry, but again, it'll be helpful for you to start learning the stuff, like dumbbells. If you're like a lot of people do their dumbbell presses like this, it would be very intelligent for a chef to do this.
neutral grip. Why? Because if you press like this, there's no stress on the shoulder. Press like that, boom, now your shoulder's under pressure. You know what I mean? Small things like that would be tweaked for a chef. That make a lot of sense. So anyway, squatting, hinging, pushing, pulling. Those 4 families, you need to get good at the technique. The last thing then is your core. Like, this is vital for chefs as well. Your core muscles, what are they? A lot of people talk bollocks. They don't really know what they're talking about. You need to imagine your core is everything from your 6-pack muscles, your abs, they do exist, they are there, and surrounding 360 degrees through your ribs, all your obliques, transverse abdominis, all that shit, round to your back, all the muscles protecting your spine and your glutes, which are arse muscles. That's all your core. So you need to be able to do movements like planks, hollow holds, side planks, even fucking sit-ups. Don't doubt sit. People think sit-ups are bad for you. They're not if you keep your core engaged. Like, these movements are designed to keep your midsection strong. And if you can keep your core strong, then that means your back is protected, your spine is protected. And it also gives you awareness in what you're doing in other movements. A strong core.
I thought they were designed to break my fucking heart.
Say again?
I thought that all the core exercises were designed just to break my fucking heart.
Literally serve as the exorcist to your fucking soul, man. That's what we're
talking. Fucking hell. I really enjoy the other 4, and I don't not enjoy the core exercises, but they are a bitch. They are the bitch of my workout journey, you know. Could be different for other people, you know, but could be because I'm cyclist, so the legs are bang on, you know what I mean? So squatting is great for me. I enjoy the squats. But the planks will get me every time.
Absolute hell. So like that's a really important thing to look at, guys, is you've got those 5 families, and it's too much to go into in this podcast. The only thing that I wanted to go into there was really giving you an emphasis on what you need to focus on in the gym. So I would be focusing on maybe do a total body session, do one of those, pick one exercise that's easy to do from each family, and then just go for it in a session. Do a fucking box goblet squat, do a kettlebell hinge, do a push up on a barbell, do a bloody, a dumbbell row or a lat pull down, and then do a plank or a hollow hold. It's like you're doing those big 5 there in a session, and you were doing 10 reps on each, and then maybe 30 seconds on your plank. Do that a couple of times. That's you started off in the gym. Okay. Is it the best session in the world? No. Is it a good place to start? Fucking right it is. Is it quick? Yes. Gotta go. You gotta just commit to going and doing it. Another thing about the gym for a lot of chefs is you feel a bit weird. You feel a bit like self-conscious. That's normal, man. Totally normal. It's like you're supposed to feel weird. So
is everyone else in there, yeah. Big time.
It's a new environment. It's a new fucking environment. I've been lifting weights consistently since I was fucking 11 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And even still, if I walk into a new gym, it's still kind of uncharted territory. You know, you don't recognize the faces. People are looking at you weird. Who's this lad? You know, this and that. And you do feel a bit weird. Don't let that stop you. You shouldn't let that stop you. That's just a natural thing. This is because you're trying the gym for the first time. You kind of see that as, oh, well, the gym's this place where I feel really weird. Anything new, you're going to feel fucking weird. Do it for a couple of weeks, weather the storm, and keep fucking showing up. So that's
Make it your new normal.
Yeah, big time. Make it the new normal. That's a famous saying that we had in Chef Fit. Like, that'd be lifting side of things. From a cardio side of things, it's like, okay, cool. What you need to be doing, sorry, yawning here. Letting out the old carbon dioxide.
Wake up or open a window or something.
Fuck's sake. Down a bit of this water.
Let's go, cardio, me buddy.
So, cardio is basically working your heart and lungs, you know? It's your heart and your lungs, and it's vital for a chef's health. You need to be working your heart and lungs regularly. Chances are you're smoking. Chances are you're eating shite food. Chances are the old heart and lungs are under a bit of pressure. If you're a bigger chef as well, like you're quite heavy, as in you're over 20 stone, that kind of territory, maybe even 22, 23, 24, 25 stone, this becomes a real problem. You know what I mean? And it's a real issue if you don't do it regularly. I avoided doing this for years. I've always been like, I was a rugby player. I was a power lifter. I was always into lifting weights. I hated cardio. And then I started getting into running. As soon as I started Chef Fit, I realized that it's like, okay, right, I want these guys to run. I'm going to have to fucking run. So I did, and I started. And what I've learned is it's probably one of the most powerful tools that I have for controlling my state of mind. Outside of just like getting fitter and all of that, mental health is another big thing for chefs. And I think you need to be able to do something that's a piece of piss that you can just go and do, and it changes your state instantly. I run for 15 minutes every single morning, you know, and I just made that a habit. The second I wake up, I'm gone. I'm doing it. So
nobody has ever gone for a run and then finished it and went, oh, I feel shit after doing that.
That's right, 100%.
Runner's high is a real thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I've only been running for about a year, and I can't imagine not doing it now.
Yeah, it's mad. Like, I feel, even when I'm going through periods, like I'm doing jiu-jitsu at the moment and I'm fucking lifting weights and all of that, and maybe I don't do it. I did a half marathon a couple of months ago, and maybe I was focusing on, you know, lifting the weights and the jiu-jitsu more. I still run a couple of times a week because it gives me such mental clarity. And the thing you need to understand is stop comparing yourself to people who run. Stop comparing yourself to people who run. Like, I was listening to like fucking, I was looking at Peter when he was doing 10Ks, or my mate Sean was doing, you know, he's a runner and he ran a marathon and all of this shit. And I'm looking at myself thinking, oh, well, I'm quite fit. But the reality is I don't do any kind of running before that. And I'm going out in the roads thinking I'm going to run a 5K or I'm going to run a 10K. And it's like, man, you're out of your fucking mind. You know, you need to start slow. You need to start off by just getting done what you can get done. When I go and do those runs in the morning, I do like 2 kilometers and it takes me 12 to 13 minutes. It's like, I'm not trying to sprint. I'm not trying to destroy myself. I do it merely as a means of getting my body in motion and getting my mind clear. You know, some days I'll do a 5K if I have more time and I'm not lifting weights that day. But for the most part, I start slow and I start with something I can manage. Now, at the start, I would have a heart attack after 2K. Now, they're easy. They're a piece of piss. It's a warm-up to me. And I could, you know, do much longer distances. It doesn't have to be running. It could be cycling. It could be swimming. It could be whatever. I think running or walking are the most readily available, though, for most chefs. Now, your knees might be in bits. Your hips might be in bits. Fucking Peter had plantar fasciitis when he started off in Chef Fit, and he was in rag order. So you need to find...
Shin splints as well.
Say again?
Shin splints as well for 4 months when I started running.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to find out what works for you. You know, obviously your stretching, your mobility plays a massive role here in keeping your body supple and healthy and whatever you want to do. But also you need to pick your poison, and then you need to make a consistent structure out of it. So this is the move every day thing. Like, even if you're not going to the gym, even if you're just doing your bit of cardio, it's like, get up and do it first thing. See how different your day pans out. I would start off by doing 10 to 20 minutes. Just keep it in that range and just get it done, you know, and just get it done a couple of days and keep doing it over and over and over again until that becomes easy. And then add more time where you're doing 20 or 30 minutes. Or maybe I'm doing 3K, you know, this week. I did 2K last week. I'll do 4K the week after, and I'll do 5K.
Challenge yourself big time, yeah.
Small incremental changes, small improvements on things will make a massive difference. Small improvements make a massive, massive difference. And just look to add them incrementally over time, you know. But I think the key thing with cardio is you need to be doing it a minimum of 3 times a week. I do it sometimes 5 to 7 times a week. Peter probably does it every day. You build up to that point, but you've got to be of the mind that it needs to be in a structure that you do it. So I recommend having it as part of your routine. Your morning routine should involve it. You know, I've probably sat on the fence a bit like this for chefs about, oh, just find the time when you fucking can because, you know, maybe we are working late and you're up early. It's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, you're letting us have an excuse then.
Yeah, fuck that. Like, dude, get up fucking 30 minutes earlier and do it. Get up 30 minutes earlier and do it. Because I'm not doing it because I'm a dick. I'm doing it because if you do that, you will feel amazing. You'll feel fantastic. So, like, the other thing about cardio is it needs to be super simple. Stop overcomplicating. Literally go for, don't even think about time, don't even think about distance. Just think about like, hey, I'm going to go for 15 minutes here. I'm going to go with a pace that I could fucking talk to you, but I can't sing. And I'm just going to do it for the 15 minutes and see how I get on. And if I finish it, happy days, you know, and then you just do it again and you do it again and you do it again. Anything that you're thinking cardio wise, Peter, that we haven't really touched on there? Obviously we're keeping it fairly general, bro.
Yeah, well, you know, I found that when it came to cardio, for me, I only thought that running itself was never going to be for me. I never thought it would be. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, but look, I'm cycling every day. I don't need to do any more cardio than that. Until I actually started running, I was like, hold on a second, I haven't got a fucking breeze about what I can do now.
Yeah.
And when the running was introduced into Sheffield, the interval runs that we do now.
Yeah, the density stuff.
It's after changing the whole structure of it. It really, really has. So you have two of them interval sessions, the sprint sessions, and now my times of my 4K into work or my 5Ks at the weekends it's getting beaten every single time.
Yeah, insane. And that starts off, I think another thing to touch on here is just mental. You will put barriers on yourself and you will put restrictions on yourself. Like I did say it twice now, but I did that half marathon recently and it was 21K, you know, and this is someone who has, yeah, sure, I'm athletic and I've been an athlete my whole life, but fuck me, I was never, even when I was playing rugby, I was always the fat fucker on the team, like, you know. And for powerlifting, I was always big and fucking strong, but running was never a thing for me. So when I would see people doing 5Ks, remember my first 5K was with Peter in a park, you know, doing a park run. That was a massive breakthrough for me. I thought I was going to die doing that, and I ended up being fine, you know. That's a breakthrough.
Yeah, you end up doing half of it fucking backwards, coaching me along. I was like, this motherfucker.
Bollocks.
I've been out here. I was like, I've been out here every week now for like 6 months. You're like, oh yeah, I will see how it's going. I don't know, you know, I'm a big lad and all. You were there running backwards, going, oh yeah, you just gotta, you know, breathe deep here. Go on, get in there.
Get in there.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, like it's literally a case of just making, you have barriers that you put on yourself that you need to break through, you know. The same thing goes for any kind of distance. So when I did a 5K, never ran anything over 10K, and I just showed up that half marathon, put my fucking headphones on and just went. And it was a hilly course in Wicklow and it was a nightmare for the first 15, 17 kilometers. And then I just caught my second wind and I started catching up to all the people who'd fucking left me for dead at the start. My two mates who were runners beat them, you know. And it's like, by doing that, it's not that I'm trying to blow my own trumpet. It's that I proved to myself that I can fucking do it, you know. I proved to myself that I'm a lot mentaler. I have a lot more mental capacity than I think. And that's the same thing for you. So don't stop thinking of, oh, I have to do 10K, I have to do 5K, I have to do, you know, half marathon. Do what you can. Start off with that. Get a foundation built. Get used to doing it. Once you're used to doing it, then you can build on it. But you need to get used to it first. So whatever you need to do to get used to it, that's what you start with. I think that takes us on to the structure.
I think that a great, for anybody who was at the very, very start, or any stage really, but park run is amazing. There's nobody listening to this podcast now that is more than a few kilometers away from a registered park run anywhere in the world. And if you're a brand new novice and you don't even think that you could walk a full 5K because of whatever level of fitness you're in, park run's the best place to start for that.
Yeah, big time. And I think taking it forward, then it's like, how do we structure this for a chef that it works? So you got to understand that you need to move every day. All right, you got to understand that you need to move every day. But by moving every day, it's like, when in the day do we move? How often do we go to the gym? How often do we do our cardio? All of these things.
How do we fuel it?
Yeah, big time. Like, what I recommend doing is, first off, my morning routine involves me moving. I change my physiology, which changes my psychology. My physiology is my physical makeup. And if I get that moving, I get that thing fucking rolling, then all of a sudden then everything changes up here. And then my day goes very differently. So I try and start my day every single morning by either getting up and going for a run, which I'll do 3 times a week, and I'll go to the gym 4 times a week. Okay. Some weeks I'll run every morning just to shit. If I'm training, lifting weights in the evening, I'll do my run in the morning. But for the most part, I get up every morning and I do something. For the moment, that breaks down to 3 runs and 4 gym sessions. Okay. For you guys, what I would recommend is, depending on what your level is at, it's like if you've been in a gym before, try and get in there 2 or 3 times a week, and then get your run or your walk or your cycle in 3 or 4 times a week outside of that. If you're really heavy set and you're not comfortable in the gym and you're fucking carrying a lot of weight and you don't really know anything about fitness, start off by walking. Literally get up and walk for 20 minutes, 30 minutes every morning. Get up and do it. And once you're used to doing that, and once that's easy, and once that's natural to you, maybe we start to jog a little bit of that walk. Once you're jogging a little bit of that walk, you get used to that, then we start jogging the entire walk. And then all of a sudden we got that foundation to build. You've got to start at the level that you're at. Stop comparing yourself to other people and make it part of your morning routine. That's the key thing. That's the structure. Make it part of your morning routine. And you just need to get in the frame of mind of getting up and doing it every single day. But
once it's a habit.
Yeah, until it's a habit.
Mm.
The first week or 2 is always the hardest. The first month is always the hardest. But you got to stay the course. You got to stick with it until it becomes easy. A habit is going to take you 21 days to about 6 weeks, somewhere in that range there, to really make something automatic. You know, it's the same thing with me and running. I hated the idea of doing that every morning. Now I love the idea of doing it. I love it. And that's because I stuck with it enough that it became habitual. That's what.
Can you imagine not doing it now? Can you imagine not doing it for a week?
Yeah, because I've such a powerful tool to control how I feel. So, like, exercise and mental health are interlinked. Do you understand? How happy you are, I think a lot of the time can be in a lot of situations, especially chefs, that your state of mind, I think, is being controlled by your body. Like a lot of you, you know, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm all of this, I'm all of that. And it's like, cool. Imagine you're playing a fucking game of The Sims, that computer game. And it's like, you got all these health bars. And it's like, you've got full health, full charisma, full this, full that. Everything in your lifestyle is depleting that health bar. It's like shite food, smokes, late nights, booze, fucking drugs, whatever. It's bringing that health bar down. And you're not doing anything to bring the health bar back up again. And I feel a lot of that is happening, and I feel that's why you're in this shit state of mind that you're in. So the exercise and the nutrition that we've talked about in another episode is a means of filling up that health bar again. So you're actually in a state of mind where you're feeling good and you're not anxious and you're not depressed. That's absolutely massive. I think another thing then that Peter touched on then was fueling it. So fueling cardio or fueling training sessions in general. Just all I would say is, like, obviously...
The reason why I was asking is I generally do it fasted. Most of my cardio, like my early cardio, will be done fasted, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or if it's a bad thing. It's just something you hear. But at the same time, it's just because the hours that I work, that's how I work. That's how I work my cardio into my life.
What time are you mad at?
Oh, 6:10.
So like 6:10 in the morning, I'll get up and I'll run. I think I do my runs at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'll do that fasted. I'm not waking up at fucking, you know what I mean? You're not going to wake up before that and eat, you know? And to be honest, it's usually fine because your body will be operating on, you know, the carbohydrates you gave it the day before. So,
and your body will be wide awake by the time you finish your first one anyway.
Exactly. And then you just refuel yourself after. The only thing I'd say about exercise and food, guys, is just keep your food light around training sessions. Like, your big meal would want to be at least 2.5, 3 hours before a gym session. Cardio then, I'm about to sneeze, so I'll let that one pass. All good. Food then around the training. So it's like the 2.5, 3 hours before you have your meal. If you want to eat something before a lifting session or a cardio session, it's like a piece of fruit or a protein shake, because it's really easy to digest. It gets into your system and it means your body can utilize it straight away. Same thing goes for after a training session. You should try and get something easy to digest into you as soon as you finish, like definitely within the first 1 hour, you know, of finishing that training session. bit of fruit, like a banana protein shake goes a long way. Whatever you want to have, you know, very, very important. And then obviously at the end of that, you want to be refueling with a proper meal 2 to 3 hours later. Like that's what I would say about fueling yourself. Keep it light and easy to digest, or either side of your training session. Obviously further out, have your proper meals. That's pretty much boxed off. Is there anything you think we haven't glossed over, Peter?
So when people are always saying, just while we're doing it on exercise, about the importance of the rest day, you're not saying to not have a rest day. You know, you can still do cardio on a rest day, as you're saying, yeah.
So like,
just go out and doing a bit.
Again, taking the excuse away. There's a massive there's a world of fucking difference between doing, you know, an hour of heavy deadlifts and, you know, an hour of walking. They're both exercise, but they're two totally, totally different things, impacts on your body. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Your nervous system it's like the computer that fucking manages your body, right? So imagine when you go and train and you lift really, really, really hard. It's like you're loading up your computer, your operating system with all these programs. It's like opening your phone and opening up a load of apps. The phone will start to slow down. So eventually you're going to have to take a bit of time and delete those apps or turn them off to get the phone to speed up again. Same thing goes for recovery. It's like if you're doing really heavy deadlifts for an hour, that's going to take that'll be like a full week before you should deadlift again. You understand? Whereas if you're going for a run, you probably recover overnight. So with rest days and stuff like that, that's why you lift, you know, 2 to 4 days a week. You know, if you're lifting any more than 4 days a week, I don't think you really need to be, you know, and that's, again, minimum effective dose. Do the minimum amount of work for the maximum effect. It's like 3 to 4 days a week would be ideal for lifting, you know, and the reason is because you space it, you give yourself a day in between, because lifting weights is quite stressful to the body, whereas cardio, depending on what you're doing, isn't really, unless you're sprinting, which a lot of you aren't. Going for a jog, going for a cycle, all of these things, they might be tough in the short term, but they're not tough on your body in terms of recovery. So yeah, I would consider walking, light jogging, any of that as recovery work. It's getting the blood flowing around the body. And the lifting weights, that's the stuff that you need to be looking at. Okay, maybe I need to be conscious of how much rest I'm taking in between these training days. So that's why you'll lift weights Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, as opposed to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, another question. What are the benefits of the way you have our training plan structured? It's not like, right, Monday, legs, Tuesday, chest and arms, Friday, back. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
They're based around
are we getting an all round all the time?
No, you're getting families. You're getting movement patterns. Those families are movement patterns. So Monday will be based around squat patterns, more or less. You know what I mean? Not all of them. I'll still, but it's like I emphasize one thing and then do a little bit of the others. Emphasize one thing, do a little bit of the others. So day one for Chef Fit is like Mondays we'll work on our squats. We'll then do some leg work after that. We'll do like if you're doing like a barbell squat, which is a big compound movement for your legs, that's a squat pattern. After that, you might do some split squats and you might do some hinge work. And then you might finish off with something like a bit sweaty and fast paced towards the end. Then on day two, you'll do your push and your pull. So this would be more upper body focused, and we'd be doing like dumbbell presses, push-ups, dumbbell rows, chin-ups, pull-ups. Obviously core work is thrown into absolutely every single workout. Again, the focus is on pushing and pulling, but again, that doesn't mean we can't do anything else, but it just means we emphasize those things. And then the day three in the gym is your hinge day. So that's where we'll focus on a deadlift variation. We'll focus on doing fucking trap bar deadlifts as you're advanced. If you're a beginner, we'll do the kettlebell hinges. We'll do dumbbell RDL, something to make it a bit simpler for you. And then we'll do a small bit of squatting on day three as well. But the emphasis is on the pattern, the family. It's like day one squats, day two push and pull, and day three should be hinging. As long as your
body knows what's coming next.
Say again?
My body knows what's coming next now.
Big time.
You need to get yourself.
It really does.
Yeah. No, you need to get yourself in a bit of a body. Like I would. This is me for powerlifting. I used to deadlift every Monday, and that was just like fucking every time. Knew exactly. It was automatic. You have a body clock. Like you have this rhythmical system that your body operates on, and you need to find that rhythm. That's why it's important to have consistency in your routine. It's important to have consistency in your structure. Like that's why this kind of doing it balls to the wall. I'm gonna go to the gym every day this week because I'm fucking trying to lose the bingo wings for fucking Ibiza. Fuck off. Do it fucking 3 days a week, 4 days a week. You know, leave it. Give yourself. Do something that's sustainable over time. I think that's vitally important actually. Do something that's sustainable. That's the idea of Move Every Day. That's the idea of the Chef Fit system. That's the idea of why we do what we do, because it's sustainable. You can do it for long periods of time. Stop playing the short game. Start playing the long game. Probably should have touched on this at the start. It's like your goals towards the fucking, why you're making the change. It's like, ask yourself that. Ask yourself why. Why am I doing this? Because if the answer is, well, I just want to lose a bit of weight, well then what happens when you lose a bit of weight? You're going to do it. You might lose the weight. You might not. But if you do, you're probably guaranteed that you're going to put it back on because you've got nothing after that. What the fuck are you doing after it? Nothing. Whereas if you come at it with a goal like this, where it's like, Peter said something to me at the start of Chef Fit, and he goes, I want to get addicted to exercise. Like, I want this lifestyle to be a totally new thing for me. Now, I think someone like that is rare, but you could all like that. If he wants to get addicted to exercise, he's probably going to have to fucking get addicted to exercise through his habits. He's going to have to develop the habit of exercise. And he did, and he has, and he's seen the benefits of it, and he's sustaining it for a long period of time. Vitally important to understand that all stemmed from the frame of mind that he was in when he chose to join us. He wanted to be addicted to exercise. He wanted this lifestyle. He wanted the process. And now he does it week in, week out. Whereas I think a lot of you are running into the mistake of you're just looking to get your symptoms solved. You're just looking to feel a little bit better about yourself. You're just looking to lose a little bit of weight or get a little bit of fitness going. And it's like, man, you could achieve those things in a fucking week if you really wanted to. But the reality is you've got nowhere to go after that point. So ask yourself a bigger question. I want to get myself together, exercise and nutrition. Why? Why do you want to do it? Who are you doing it for? If the question ultimately gets down to my life is on track and I want it on track and I want to be happy, good. Because then everything that you're going to do exercise-wise is going to lead you to that point. And there's never any end point, which is a good thing. But if you've got this like destination, we all want to lose weight, but if you've just got this set destination, I need to do this, I need to lose this by this time, like, man, you will start. Chances are you won't achieve what you're talking about. And that is really important to understand.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, big time. And that's really, really...
Everyone has.
Yeah, big time. I used to do it for years. Of dieting and fucking, like really, really trying to get shredded, trying to get my six pack and all of this shit. It never fucking worked. Because when I'm motivated and I wanted to do it, I do it. But when I'm not motivated, I had nothing to fall back on. It's like when I'm fucking tired and I want to eat ice cream, I don't give a fuck about a six pack, Whereas if I have a deep reason for doing it, chances are I'm going to follow through and do it.
Yeah.
I think the last thing then, if we need to touch on it, would potentially be accountability. Leave for another one.
Big time.
Yeah. Oh, you think it's that's an important one? Do you think it's something to be talked about elsewhere?
No. I think it's something. I think that's a bumper episode if I ever heard one. The tribe survives.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Yeah.
That's what makes the difference this time around. Yeah. I can tell myself, Asher, look at you, catch up.
Yeah.
And then 4 or 5 days go by. Go look at it. There's no point now. There's no point. Asher, look, you fucking put the weight back on, leave it. There's no point.
Yeah, big time.
But accountability is after making a massive difference in the whole process.
Yeah, big time. And I think we'll dive into that, but I think that is an episode in and of itself, your environment. The key things you've got to understand with your exercise, and we'll finish off on this, is that you need an environment, you need people around you who are going to make you do the thing that you said you would do. Super important. Like, not enough people get held accountable in their lives. Not enough people are, made take responsibility of their shit. The reason that you're not achieving what you want to achieve is because you hit an obstacle, you make an excuse, and you go back to square one. Well, what would happen if you had someone to be accountable to where you hit that obstacle and then you went to them, hey man, I'm hitting an obstacle. And they would tell you, get your fucking shit together, or they would support you or do whatever to get you through that obstacle. That would be absolutely vital to your progress. But unfortunately, it's what a lot of people lack. That's why Chef It works. Because Chef It is in the fucking name about chefs. You understand? You got an environment of chefs, 50 plus at this stage, who are making the push, who are trying to be better. It's like all of a sudden then your excuses kind of go out the window. And now it's about us as opposed to them. Sorry, it's about us as opposed to me. Very, very, very important.
You're not letting yourself down. You are letting yourself down, but you're not just letting yourself down.
Yeah.
And with the accountability structure that we have going, I'm accountable for the person on my left and the person on my right, and they are as accountable for me as I am for myself.
110%. 110%. Like, that's so vital to understand that, guys. Accountability is huge. So recapping this and bringing it into the harbor. First off, with exercise, you've got to move every day. Okay? Moving every day is vital. And having it early in the morning is even better because you change your state of mind and your day takes shape. You've got energy, you've got motivation off the back of that. The other thing is within your sessions then, if you're going to go to the gym, I would recommend going 2 to 4 days a week. I would recommend doing your cardio 3 or 4 days a week on top of that. In the gym, I would recommend stretching out your hips and your hamstrings and your shoulders for your posture before your session, and then getting yourself generally warmed up. And then get straight to the fucking point. Don't piss around. Squat, hinge, push, pull, core. Concentrate on those 5 things. Do a couple of sets of each. Boom, get the fuck out of there. That's what you need to start.
Can I not sit on the leg press for 20 minutes on Facebook?
Yeah, just check check in with your fans there and see what they've got to say.
Can I not literally sit on the leg press for 25 minutes?
Yeah,
on the phone now. Is that not how you do a leg press now?
Me and Ella, my missus, were in the gym, and we were training in Fly Fit in Stillorgan. Fucking packed out with there was a lot of the kids these days and their fucking Gymshark gear and all of this shit. Anyway, I do Ella's program and she's waiting to go on the leg press, and your man's sitting there on his phone. Only leg press in this gym, fucking 7:30 at night, absolutely packed out. He does a shit set of 8, and then he sits there in the leg press on his phone, flicking through.
Shit set of 8.
Ella's sitting there looking over going, what the fuck? And she, after 20 minutes, she goes over to ask him and notice he's on his phone flicking through OnlyFans. Anyone doesn't know what OnlyFans is? It's some app you can basically pay those Insta fucking models who they'll basically, the other way they get famous off taking pictures of their arse. OnlyFans means they actually just take naked pictures and you can pay to follow them around. This lad's on the leg press for 20 minutes looking at fucking naked pictures of birds' arses from fucking Wendy from fucking Clonskea. You can pay £7 a month to fucking stare at her thong. You fool, chap. Anyway, don't be that lad. Not only is he on his phone,
Please.
He's actually trying to get aroused in between sets of leg press, and his rest times are 25 minutes. If you're that, you're a fucking absolute cabbage, and you need help. You need serious help, pal.
Every single day, every single time I'm in the gym, you see that.
Ah, man, it's death.
Just so comfortable on that leg press, is it?
Yeah, it's insane. God forbid someone would want to use it. So,
That's why I try and keep things simple for you, because I don't want you to be those people. Those people have been fucking training in the gym for God knows how long. That's why they're so comfortable there, sitting there looking at porn.
None of our training sessions, none of our training is on machines.
Yeah. Fucking deliberate.
God, body weight and weights, yeah.
Yeah, fucking get in there, pal. Get you moving, get you in motion. Sorry, we completely got sidetracked by that lad in the fucking leg press watching porn. So again, as I was saying, those 5 families, get in there, smash that shit out, man, and like focus on getting the technique good. You know, getting really proficient at the technique, keeping it super simple, doing a couple of sets of each, get in, get out. That's it. You know, start off with the most basic variations of stuff: box goblet squats, kettlebell hinges, push-ups to a bar, a raised up bar, you know, a TRX row, a dumbbell row, and even just planks and hollow holds. Just start off with that stuff. YouTube them. Listen to this again. YouTube it and fucking go and learn it. It's a piece of piss. Go and do it, man. I'm telling you. Outside of that, then, what's going to help massively in your journey is, you know, having accountability. So if you're doing your cardio, as I said, walk, run, cycle, pick your poison, do it for, start off by doing 10, 15 minutes and then build on it from there. But the thing about it is having accountability and having something that, you know, keeps you on track other than yourself. Having someone that you can go to and go, do you know what, actually kind of fuck this, you know, and they will push you and they will get you up off your hole to get up and do it. Like sometimes, all of us need to kick up the arse sometimes. All of us need to kick up the arse. That's vital to you staying on track to your goals. All right? So, with that in mind, peeps, that is episode 2. Chefs, get started. Get going. You know, start fucking doing it. If you want to join Chef Fit, you can. You can apply to join us and we will change your fucking life. But don't use that, even if it's, oh, you're skeptical, you're on the fence, that's fine. Don't use that as an excuse not to go. You need to go. You need to do it. So start, like, you have YouTube. Every problem, this is a fucking one I'm going to finish on. Resourcefulness is a real thing that pisses me off about people. You could figure out fucking anything on YouTube, but yet everyone goes, I don't know. Like, you could literally fucking stick into YouTube, what's the easiest exercise routine ever invented, and you get it up on your fucking phone, you know, and you could do it in your living room.
Yeah.
Only thing stopping you is you, man. Only thing stopping you is you. So you need to get up and get going. Stop fucking about. Or else you're going to be that fucking turtle woman with the fucking face on the front of her body on the old Travelator in Aldi in Terranure. You don't want to go there, pal. You don't want to go there.
I was sure as shit I wasn't going to have enough time to follow through with a full, proper training session. Now, doing the exact same hours, and I'm working my fucking ass off.
Get in, son. Makes them better. More balance, more life, more fucking energy. Check yourself before you fucking wreck yourself. Shotgun bullets are bad for your health, pal. Ice said that. Fucking get with it. Anyway, with that in mind, that's episode 2. Stay safe, motherfuckers.